Yep.
Okay. So I'm making the dish called Kung Pao chicken, in Chinese called Gong Bao Ji Ding. And this is a very popular dish in China. It's almost every menu you'll find this dish in every region of China. I think it's originally from Sichuan, but everywhere in China they make this dish, and it's in their homes and restaurants and whatever. It's very popular. So I'm preparing the meat, and I like to prepare the meat first because I'm going to marinate it in some Shaoxing cooking wine, and I'm going to show that to you when I put it in. I'm going to show you the bottle so you can see what I use. And I'm making this, the shape that I cut this in, I'm doing it in cubes because in the name, the Chinese name of the dish, the Gong Bao Ji Ding, when you see ding, it means that the dish, the shape of the meat and hopefully the other ingredients are more or less a cube shape. I was explaining to the others that if usually in the name of the Chinese food will include a word that indicates the shape. So if it has the word si, which is spelled S-I, then you would expect thin, long, thin strips. And if it's a pian, then you would expect it to be thin, flat slices. And so anyway, this dish is also, it's very easy to make, and it doesn't have very many ingredients. And so for that reason, I thought it was a good one to start with. Now, first of all, I'm going to put in, you can see this, this is the Shaoxing cooking wine. You can get this in any Oriental food store. And I'm gonna put in, probably about 1.5 teaspoons. Yeah, it's about 1.5 teaspoons. And I'm going to put in some cornstarch, about the same, about one to 1.5. You don't want too much cornstarch because it'll get it won't turn out very well. You just want a little bit there. And then I'm going to put in some a little bit of the dark soy sauce. I don't want too much because I don't want the meat to come out too dark, but the dark soy sauce is used more for color. And then just gonna put a little drop in. There we go. And then I'm going to put in the light soy sauce. And the light soy sauce is more for to add salt. Light soy sauce maybe is deceiving because usually if we see light sodium, we would expect it to be less salty. But actually, when you buy the light soy sauce in the Chinese grocery store, you would actually be doing that to add salt, more salt flavor to your food. Okay. Now I'm going to just mix that with my hand. So Luz, I was saying before that a lot of times I will even, if I'm going to do a big Chinese meal, I'm going to prepare the meat the night before and put it in the refrigerator, and then it's all ready to go for when I want to stir fry. And that also helps for the flavors to go into the meat more, and also the cornstarch helps to keep it moist and tender. Okay. So I'm going to put this one aside for now and let that marinate. Okay. Next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to prepare the sauce. Now, the sauce has also has some of the let's see, I'm going to put in sugar first. It also has the same ingredients of the cooking wine, and but just a little bit. And then the soy sauce, both the light and dark. And I'm going to put in 1 tablespoon of the sugar. Sometimes I like it a little sweeter, so I'll add 2, but then I always reciprocate and add the same amount of, oops, there we go, oops. I'm gonna put a little bit more vinegar because I like it pungent. Okay, I'm gonna put in a little bit of the dark soy sauce. There we go. Don't want it too salty. Okay, I forgot to introduce you to the vinegar. The Chinese black vinegar is one of the components of the sauce, and it's a very popular condiment that's used in China. My favorite brand is this Zhenjiang vinegar, and again, you can get this in any Oriental food store. Okay, I'm going to put in a couple teaspoons of the cornstarch. I think I'm done with cornstarch now. And I need to put in some sesame oil. I can get my sesame oil out here. I'll put in, it says a teaspoon, but I usually put in a little bit more because I particularly like the flavor. And then the other thing I want to put in is some, a chicken base, because I'm going to add a little water to this. And so the chicken base will give it a little bit more chicken flavor. And this particular brand I found in a local grocery store that I like this one the best of all. It's not salty. It adds a chicken flavor, but it doesn't add the salt. If you use the bouillon cubes, a lot of times it becomes too salty. Okay, now I'm going to put about a tablespoon of water in here. I'm going to stir this up. Just incorporate all the cornstarch and the sugar, and I might even put in more sugar. Okay. Doesn't have to be so exact, but this is pretty much a basic recipe for this. There are many ways to make this kung pao chicken. Everybody has their own variety. If you're in Sichuan, they probably will tend to use more of the huajiao, which is a kind of a pepper that is like the flower of the pepper, and it's much more fragrant, and it has kind of a numbing sensation rather than that ardent, burning sensation that other peppers have. But I'm not going to use the huajiao this time. I'm just going to, I have before, but I'm not going to this time. I'm just going to use regular dried peppers. Dried peppers, you can get anywhere. The ones I like the best are from Tianjin, but doesn't have to be. I put in peppers that you just get from a Mexican grocer or something. That's perfectly fine. In fact, the ones I'm using now, probably that's where I got them. So the next thing I'm going to do is, I like to do things in this particular order. It's just I find it easier. And I want to put in an onion, but I'm not going to chop them. I'm just going to trim off the bottoms, and I'm going to cut them at about an inch long, because you want, again, to come as close as you can to that, cube shape. And I cut them about 1 inch long. And I only want, you know, the white parts, maybe a little bit of the green, but the thicker ends. And then I save the leaves for another dish. I'll chop those up and put them in another dish. Or if you want to garnish with that at the end of the, you know, when you plate it up, you can certainly chop up some of the greens and put that on top. That's perfectly fine. Okay. All right. Then this one gets peanuts. So I'm going to prepare this on a plate. It's just easier for me to have everything laid out and ready to go when I start to stir fry. And this is just the way I do it. I line it all up like this on the plate. I put the sauce in the middle, okay? And then I'm going to put this over on the side. Okay, I've prepared, this is some minced garlic. I cut up minced garlic, and I'm going to put about 1.5 teaspoons of that into it, maybe more if I feel happy. And then some minced ginger. And when I prepare the ginger, I used to go through a lot of work chopping and chopping and chopping till it's very fine. Now I just grate it, and it goes a lot faster. So I think we can start to stir fry. First of all, you want to heat up your wok. If you don't have a wok, it's okay. You can use a frying pan. It's just that traditionally when we cook Chinese food, we do it in a wok. And the wok originally was, you know, it was put on a stove that the whole thing sunk into where the fire was underneath. And so all the sides were heating up. And so when you stir fry, you're constantly absorbing the heat from all the sides of the wok. But it's a little hard to do that when your flame is only going on the bottom. So that's why I say if you don't have a wok and you just have a frying pan, it's good enough. Okay, I'm gonna put in about a tablespoon of oil. Okay, and the first thing to go in are the peppers, the dried peppers. And you want to cook them till they're black. And that really doesn't take very long. I'm putting in a little extra because I kind of like my food spicy. So I'm going to put in a little bit more than I would if I was maybe serving a bunch of people that don't like it so spicy. When they're starting to turn black, the next thing to go in is the meat. And you want to sear it. So I would say don't be too quick to start stirring. Let it sear a little bit, and then start stirring it around. You want to get a little bit of crust or something on parts of the meat because that also adds flavor. And maybe I didn't mention, I'm using chicken thighs. Now, if you go online and look up kung pao chicken, a lot of the recipes tell you to use the breast, but I prefer to use the chicken thighs because they're more tender. They have more fat in them and more flavor, I think. So that's just my preference. And also, frequently, that's how I see it served in China, is they use a lot of restaurants will use the chicken thighs, or the dark meat anyway, whether it's the leg or the thigh. So there's different distinct cooking methods throughout China. I think that they mentioned 8 of them. You know, one region is Sichuan. Well, most people know about Sichuan restaurants, and that's a very spicy food. There's a Shanghai, which is a region of Hunan. Again, you probably heard of Hunan restaurants, and that cooking should be, you know, also a very spicy one. Yue Thai is from like Cantonese style cooking, and you've got another style of cooking in Fujian and Zhejiang, Jiangsu. Let's see, and then in the Shandong area, they have another one called Lu Thai. So these are some of the most distinctive styles of cooking, but wherever you go in China, they all have their own way. If you go out to Western China, you're going to see more the Muslim style cooking. You know, they won't eat pork, but they use a lot of cumin and a lot of spices that people use in the Middle East or in, you know, even in India. Okay, the chicken's starting to really cook now. So I think it's time for me to put in the garlic and the ginger. And you want to put in a couple teaspoons here of garlic. And I'm going to put in a couple teaspoons of the ginger. Like I said, I like it, you know, more flavorful. So I put in more seasonings. You notice that I don't add salt. I know the recipes call for adding a little salt, but I think you get enough salt from the soy sauce. So I don't add salt when I'm using soy sauce. And you want to stir fry the chicken with ginger and garlic until it really becomes fragrant. You can really smell that ginger and garlic working. Okay, I'm sorry we don't have a camera that shoots down over so you can see it stir frying. Okay, the next thing is going to be the sauce. You want to put in the sauce and cook that down, let it thicken. And then I think I'm going to add a little more water to that. Got a little bit thick. Okay. Then we put in the green onion, the scallions, but you don't want to cook them too long. You just want to toss them a couple times. Don't cook them until they're really soft. You want them still a little bit crunchy. And then the last thing we put in are the peanuts. Just toss them around. And again, you don't want them to get soggy. And there, that was fast. I'm going to plate it up. And for the peanuts, you know, don't use raw peanuts, because if you use raw peanuts, you have to do one more step. You have to roast them. I, in fact, also use the salted roasted peanuts. I just get them at like Trader Joe's, buy them in the bags there, and that's what it should look like. Can everybody see? So that's all there is to it. I don't know if anybody has any questions. Well, that pepper's making me cough. Anybody have any questions? Okay. Well, that's the end of my presentation, and I hope you all go home or stay at home and try cooking this yourself. It's a lot of fun, and it's very popular with people. So I hope you enjoy it, and thank you for attending.